Hey everyone, this is John the Watch Concierge, and today I'm going to be doing a review of my Seiko 5 SNK357K1. This is a nice little watch that you can find online on Google, and you can probably see if there's any stock left on certain websites. Certain websites might have it a much higher price than maybe you might be willing to pay for a watch of this quality, or just with these specs, which I'll go over in just a minute. But overall, it is quite a popular model for this SNK357K1. There is also a black dial version. This is the dark blue dial, which might seem like black because it's very, very dark blue. So most of the time it might just look black to you. But if you get it at the right angle, you'll be able to see that it is actually dark blue. Seems like the black dial version of this is easily available, whereas the dark blue might be a little bit harder to find. But do your best in Google and see what you can find and what price they have it for. This is the box that you'll get with this watch. This is very typical of the older Seiko 5 models. You get this little cushion here and a little tag. I got this online on Chrono24 from this watch dealer in Spain, and I got it for a reasonable price, around $120 or so if you convert the currency. Since I'm in Sweden, we use Swedish crowns here, so yeah, you might be able to find it a lot cheaper if you're in the US. I know they have a lot of good prices on watches in general, but definitely Seiko's, I think they usually are much cheaper when looking at the US market. So the case size of this watch is 37 millimeters and the case thickness is 11 millimeters, which I find it to be a very good size for people with wrists like mine, which is a little less than 6.5 inches, I believe. So it's a great size, works for various occasions. So not only would it work for a casual day-to-day watch or sports style watch, but also I would say it would fit well with a suit or a dress shirt, or something a little bit more dressy. You could definitely use this as a replacement for a dress watch, even though that's not its original intention perhaps. And I think that works out much better as a dress watch than a sports watch, due to it not having a sapphire crystal. It does have the mineral glass. I believe they have it Hardlex. That's the Seiko special mineral glass that they have adapted for Seiko, which is supposed to be a little bit better than the typical mineral glass that you'll get on a watch. But I never really kind of tested that to know myself whether it's better, but I'm sure it is. And it's also not 100 meters water resistant, at least, which I would say should be the requirement to be considered a sports watch. So very unfortunate. I think this is actually just 30 meters water resistant, which is not ideal at all. So definitely don't risk taking this in the pool and getting water inside, especially since there is no screw-in crown. Even though the case back here is screw-in, the crown itself is not, and I would not trust this to go in the water and be okay. So this is a little bit more of a popular model, especially with this dark blue dial. As you can see, the dial has those Seiko 5 logo printed on the dial, which makes it really cool and unique, I'd say. And everything is nicely applied. You can see there's Loom also on the hands, and some Loom around the indices, just on the tip here on the outer part of the indices. You got a very nice and legible day and date window. And in terms of style, I'd say, this is kind of an alternative, a very affordable budget alternative to a Rolex Oyster Perpetual or Datejust or Day Date, I guess. But definitely a good alternative for those kinds of watches if you're looking for something that's in between casual and sports and dressy. So due to the size, definitely does help being a dress watch, because you can just easily slide this under a dress shirt and it works. So the caliber for this one is 7S26C, which is just as reliable as any other Seiko movement, and the typical, NH36, NH35. This is a common movement among the older Seiko 5 models. However, of course, Keep in mind that this is not like the NH35 or 36 because you don't have any manual winding feature on here. It's just automatic only. So all these older Seiko 5 models, you have to shake it until you make it. No, so you have to shake it until it gets going, and then you got a good good momentum going, and then you can adjust the time and the date and everything. But I would say it's not a very good feature to just have it as automatic only. I think they missed out on being able to give the people what they want, which I think would be having it automatic as an option, but also being able to manually wind, because that's the best part about it, is manually winding the watch, I would say, rather than just shaking it to get started and then you put it on your wrist and you're good to go. Although some people may like that more, but I would say I really like manually winding the watch, so having that option would be ideal, especially because usually that's the given, and then automatic, which I would say is the extra feature that you can get, because most watches did not start out as automatic first, or automatic only first. They started out as manual winding watches. So the automatic came later on, as it was a newer technology with the rotor being able to wind the watch just by itself when you make any kind of movement. So most people complain about the older Seiko 5 bracelets, but I think these are actually decent and they're actually quite nice looking. So a lot of people say it shakes a lot or it makes a lot of sound when shaking, but I don't think that's a huge deal really. I think the finishing overall is actually quite decent, both on the clasp and the bracelet, especially for being such a budget watch. Of course, you don't expect super high quality anything, but the overall finish of the case is also nice. You can see it's all polished along the sides and around the bezel, and it's brushed above the lugs, so it's very nice. And I would say the crown is a little bit small, but because it's not a manual winding watch, I think the main thing is really just to be able to pull it out and change the time and the day and date, and so it's not a huge issue. And I've seen smaller crowns, so this is definitely not the worst of them. I think this is still doable. So I've noticed the Loom is actually quite good compared to a lot of watches out there. If I bring this out in the sun, it'll easily light up, so it doesn't take much for it to really get going, and you'll see when you come back inside the house that it really does very well. So here is the Loom, and I'd say that's quite good. It lasts for a decent amount of time, but of course for a watch like this, I think this is just expected on the level of Loom that you should get. So I wouldn't say it's actually bad Loom. I'd say for this budget watch, it's actually quite decent. So I think it works out well, and I just love this dial here is really what catches the eyes, and you can see how everything just looks under the light and reflects really well. So it's a beautiful looking watch, and yeah, it's just something that's good to wear for many different occasions, like I said. Thank you very much for watching this video, and make sure to check out all the other videos on my channel. Make sure to subscribe, like, comment, and send me any messages on Instagram as well. If you have any questions or anything like that, feel free to reach out on Instagram, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.